Any healthcare worker that you talk to will recommend breastfeeding because it's best for mothers and babies. There are so many benefits for both. But with that said, sometimes there are circumstances where a pediatrician will actually recommend formula feeding. And sometimes mothers just choose it because it works better with their circumstances. They've talked it out with their pediatrician and have made that educated decision. And formula-fed kids go to kindergarten too. Here's a couple of situations where pediatricians might actually recommend formula or supplementing with formula. One is when a newborn has jaundice, and in order to excrete the bilirubin levels, which are really high, and that's what jaundice is, a baby needs to be having a lot of wet and poopy diapers, and they're only going to have a lot of wet and poopy diapers if they're eating a sufficient amount. And in those first few days following delivery, the mother is only making colostrum. There's not a lot of volume, and so the baby sometimes needs to drink more in order to pee and poop more, and that will help them get their bilirubin levels down. Another reason is inadequate growth. So you go see the pediatrician, your baby isn't gaining the appropriate amount of weight, and it might go back to the fact that you're not making enough volume, or maybe you're making skim milk instead of whole, or in other words, the fat content isn't high enough to meet your baby's needs. In other situations, a mother might need certain medications for her own well-being that can't be taken while you're nursing, and so formula is the only alternative. So again, talk with your pediatrician if you have any questions about it, and they'll be able to give you the best advice and help you come up with a plan that is best for you and your little one. If you are going to supplement with formula, there's a couple of ways you can go about it. If you can continue to give your baby breast milk, you can nurse your baby and then follow it up with a bottle of formula to make sure that your baby's drinking enough, or you can even pump expressed breast milk and give it in the same bottle with formula. If you're going to do that, just make sure you properly mix the formula first with water as outlined by the manufacturer of the formula. Be sure not to water it down to save a buck, because that can cause health problems for your baby. So mix it properly in the bottle and then add the amount of expressed breast milk that you have. This actually helps some babies like the taste of formula a little bit more because it has the flavor of their mother's breast milk. Another scenario is where you might nurse your baby for some feedings during the day and give them a bottle of formula for others. For example, some mothers notice that in the middle of the afternoon, their supply seems to be a little bit low, and so they replace the afternoon nursing session with a bottle of formula. That's still considered supplementation, but you can still give your baby breast milk. They can still get those benefits while also getting formula at other times of the day. Again, if you have any questions about what's best for your baby, don't hesitate to talk with your pediatrician, and they'll be able to give you the best advice based on their knowledge of your baby's circumstances. Good luck with everything, and if you have more questions for me in the future, please feel free to ask them on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Intermountain Moms, and recommend us to your friends and family too.